very attractive sort of neutral blue jacket there, Ryan Veli. Ryan, how are you doing? And why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you're here for?
Hello, folks. I'm Ryan Veli. I have experience with artificial intelligence and also in terms of David's New Humanity movement. I've looked at different ways for humanity to break free from the existing control structure and evolve beyond the limitations that have been imposed on us and a system of scarcity, competition, fear, and hatred that's basically characterized the human civilization for a very long time. But I think it's time that we break out of, and we have the information, tools, and people and souls incarnate at this time to do that. So that's what I'm hoping to participate in, and that's my spiel.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. Thanks for being here, Ryan. Next to him, of course, is the guy that you wanted on your basketball team in high school. The 6'7". Is it 6'7"?
Yeah.
6 foot. I know he doesn't like to talk about his here, but Brad Olson, Antarctica researcher and publisher. And Brad, why don't you tell everybody all about yourself?
Wow, well, I think you just said it all right there.
There's nothing more to say. He's tall and he's a publisher.
I actually played ultimate frisbee in college.
Yes, that's the sport.
Really? You know what? You would have made a great Bond henchman. They really missed it during the
Now I like beach volleyball.
Yeah, there you
go.
Oh, yeah.
Be tall.
Women's or men?
Mixed.
Brad, I had a guy once who told me, oh, Wilt Chamberlain was a great athlete. Not only was he a great NBA basketball player, but he was also a great beach volleyball player. I'm like, yeah, he's 7'3". Of course he's going to be great. Anyway, Brad Olson, ladies and gentlemen, Antarctica.
Out on the table. Yeah, I just gave my Antarctica talk earlier, but we'll be talking about it briefly here and there on these panels.
All right, and next to Brad is the redhead in the group, Paula Asteria. Paula, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your research, and what you're doing here. And are you a starseed?
Of course.
Well, I think we're all starseeds. I mean, of course we are. It all began at the beginning, and it evolved to all the planets evolved into, exploded from the nothingness, the 0 point, and evolution of time, and here we are right now, and they're all over the universe, all starseeds, and it all began with starseeds. I'm a Paula Asteria. I'll be speaking on Solutions for Humanity, my presentation, which is Sunday at 11 a.m. And I'm basically an artist of many forms. I've been doing it my whole life. I was in a multi-award winning music group for 7 years, but my main focus has been acting, and I've moved into filmmaking and basically producing, directing, working with documentaries in the UFO disclosure niche. And besides that, my focus on research has always been on the ancient archaeology side of things originally. That is something that's fascinated me since I was a child, and I've worked with energy work growing up, and my research now with the networks I've been working with has had a lot to do with interviewing whistleblowers from different areas of shadow government programs. So, the history and the current affairs are definitely something that has been a focus of mine for many years in the UFO disclosure niche. So yeah, I think that's about it.
All right, Paula Asteria, everybody. And Paula, just double checking, you are aware that St. Patrick's Day is Tuesday, right?
It's always St. Patrick's Day for a redhead.
I wish you'd been in Vegas and you would have fit right
Look
now.
great.
No, green is a great color.
Absolutely for St. Patrick's Day, actually.
All right, the next lady is Kate Love.
Kate Love.
Yeah. Who last time I saw you was at the pool at the Palms after the Las Vegas alien event, and you guys should all come out to the Las Vegas event in October.
Crazy event.
In
October 16, 17, 18.
Okay,
Alexis Park Resort.
Alexis Park Resort. It's a cheap hotel. It's not a disgusting hotel. It's just expensive. Kate, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, your work, and your role in all this?
I'm here this year talking about the reticular activating system, which is the filter we process our reality through. So my life has changed significantly using this theory in my life. So that's what I'm speaking about this year, is our filter that we process reality and how we can reprogram that to basically have the perception that we'd like to have. How do we step into New Earth? What does New Earth mean? And what does that look like? So many people ask me that all the time, like, how do you get to New Earth? And New Earth is a perception, and that perception can be programmed. We're all programmable beings, so I have figured quite a bit of that out, and I'm here to share that with everyone.
All right. As I said,
Told us because of dental work they had done, and that is not through implants, that is through the anesthetic that has hydrogel and self-assembling nanotechnology that operates as a
does
chip
it
to
work?
protect them. Well, it forms a polymer inside their body that forms an antenna, and it's trackable.
Oh my God.
So as soon as you get dental work done and you have that anesthetic injected into you, you are a trackable, targetable individual.
oh, so if you're an Ayatollah,
Who
don't
doesn't
worry
have
about
an
it.
injection?
The only one who really has to worry about that, though, is you. You're the only one who looks like an
Who
Ayatollah.
doesn't have an injection?
Yeah.
You don't have a dental work?
I think I'm good. I'm not too smooth to be an Ayatollah. All right, the last member of the panel, and she is last because she got here last,
The lovely cat.
is Julia Kamman. I'm going to call her Kamman because I
Canaanite. She's a Canaanite.
is a researcher, and I was just watching, I saw a little bit of your presentation on Tartaria. It was really good. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then I'll have a question for you.
Okay, my name is Julia Kamman, and I am a remote viewer, and I'm very passionate about like ancient history, and very zeroed in on Siberia. The largest megaliths in the world are in Siberia. There was a nanotechnology discovered nearby there that was significantly older, right? It's like they're saying that we just kind of fell into this technology, and I'm into looking at, we were much more advanced civilization back then, and when you look at the architecture, it will show us like the fallen consciousness of how we used to make buildings and cathedrals and what they were utilized for, how we had atmospheric energy, and where we are now with that. So looking back and bringing those ancient truths back is important to me. But I did a show on Vice, like on Inner Earth, and they had me remote view location. It was really interesting. So I'm passionate about that. On Sunday, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be doing a presentation on parasites.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me, I got to take my Fenben today. Okay, so my question for you is, we've had this discussion, we actually had a discussion about this a while back, and the issue came up, you know, what is this disclosure agenda all about? Because that's part of it, is there's an alien disclosure thing. There's, I would call what's going on politically disclosure too. You're disclosing to people how corrupt everyone is, and Epstein is an example of that. So what I see is that there is going to be an attempt on the part of the intelligence communities to insert the alien between God and man. And I think that relationship with the spirit, with the universe, with God, with Jesus, whoever your chosen deity is the most critical thing to maintaining human individuality. So my question, I guess, is to you is, do you see technology as a good thing or a bad thing, number one, because we were talking about that, and number two, if disclosure takes the form of trying to tell you, oh no, aliens invented all of your religions and it's all bullshit. I mean, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
So the first part the first question was, is it good or bad?
Is technology itself
good or bad? Well, I think the astounding things that we're in for are the medical things that are happening in the medical community, because our system was completely broken.
Yeah.
And even just the guy who, he spent $3,000 and he actually used Grok. There was a report saying that he used ChatGPT, but he actually used Grok and helped formulate a vaccine for his dog that got rid of the tumors. But he utilized his time for that, and I discussed parasites, which I will be talking about on Sunday, and they removed the parasitology and fungal pathology out of our medical schools by 74, 76.
Is that right?
So they're not informed on it, probably strategically and on purpose. So with the technology of finding tools and things because our health has been completely effed off. And so, and the advancements in technology and what it can do to kind of fix the damage, which I've always wondered, was that part of the point of like making people, is that a potential agenda of making people so damaged that they would be open to something like Neuralink and wanting to download their meds or open to this
Yeah,
stuff?
because actually Musk just announced they just got the first Neuralink working with, and they're going to restore somebody's eyesight with it. He
So,
thinks, yeah, just yesterday.
and is it making us more welcome of like, more welcoming to these advancements because we're so like, we need help, like,
Yeah.
we need to fix this, and we need, you know, why are people having such certain medical ailments that you never really heard about getting much younger? So, the other question was, organic.
If disclosure, if the point of disclosure appears to be to insert the alien in place of God, as a for instance, is that a good, you know, I mean,
so,
should
okay,
we
balancing out, I always talk about this, there needs to be a balance, because I'm concerned about AI replacing God, because we have these kids that raised on iPads and now TikTok, and their attention spans and how that's affecting them, of their attention spans and focus, and their self-esteem, and their emotional well-being, their nervous system. So if you're now going to be having the children, anything you need, anything you want to know, you don't pray, you don't connect in nature, you don't go inside yourself, meditate, and have those aha moments, like, or like I was discussing, like the hemisync, when you listen to a frequency in one part, in one side of your ear, and you listen to another frequency in the other part of your ear, it syncs your right hemisphere and the left hemisphere of your brain. So when you remote view or pray or meditate and focus, like it makes it easier to get in that state. And so these kids are going to be raised, of anything you need to know, you ask the AI. Like, so God is, it's kind of removing God in that sense. And so I'm very passionate about people need to balance, because if we don't balance it out and tapping into the organic God, like, I just feel like there's a, you know, it's like a organic intelligence and, you know, like Christ consciousness, Akashic record, like, and then there's the mechanical version, and you have to balance it out or we destroy ourselves.
Okay, so do you think the mechanical aspect is, if you had to put a label on it, satanic?
Well, okay, because this is the
it's
thing.
not of God.
This is the thing, is like we get in a philosophical debate, because like there's spirits and things that access that. Now, Geordie Rose discussed like quantum, he had the first quantum computing company, and he spoke of like, look, while everybody's like sidetracked, arguing about politics, like we're tapping into the great old ones that aren't necessarily full evil, but they don't want to be really messed with, and tying into like demonology and the circuit boards. When you look at them and you look at like Solomon's Lesser Key of Solomon and the sigils, and like, what are we tapping into? Now, philosophically, we get a big debate over like, well, if there's demons, there's angels too. What if this makes it easier for angels to intervene? You know, or like, is it all bad?
Yeah.
Well, we have to take into consideration the souls that are coming in now as these children. I mean, autism is something that's widely spread, but if you speak to a lot of people that are working with these autistic children are so intelligent, and they are the real deal star seed. They know what they're here for, and they're here on a mission. So they are completely knowledgeable about these things, and so we have the kids that are coming in that are raised on iPads, but we also have the children that are coming in that are saying, no way, I will not conform. I'm not going to conform, and I'm going to do my own thing and follow my own plan. And those kids are incredibly intelligent and incredibly connected to the divine.
Wow, okay. And you know, we all know, I think toddlers, before they lose the connection back to where they came from, they're talking to that. They can still see the angels and stuff. So it's like you forget that. That's why you can't remember anything before you were 3 years old, because you're locked into all that stuff. You're locked away from that as you grow into adulthood. Okay, I want to talk about something else. Another application of technology, which, and I don't mean to make this a negative panel because we're supposed to be positive, but I want to say what I want to get to is, how do we flip this technology into something positive. And of course, I'm talking about, Brad Olson, I'm going to go to you first. I'm talking about, of course, sex bots. No, I mean, seriously, this is, I knew I'd get you with that one. Seriously, the next application of AI, and I mean, I made the joke about, you know, if you ever watch Battlestar Galactica, Tricia Helfer, she was a Victoria's Secret supermodel, and she's the Cylon, she's a machine, but she's just like a real woman. We're not that far away from that. I mean, we're talking about the physical robots now can do...
Well, they have a sex bot place in Texas, and like the community got
They have a sex bot place in Texas, and the community got upset because their faces look like 12-year-olds, like 11, 12.
Yeah. So you push the pedal thing. That's not good. Here's the thing, though. Well, obviously, but here's the thing, Brad, is that doesn't. And I want everybody's opinion on this because we got men and women on the panel, which is really cool. It seems to me that the way it's advancing, in a year, maybe two, you're going to be able to go to a catalog and order any girl you want. She can look any way you want. You can make her look any way you want, have any kind of figure you want, whatever face, whatever age, within what's legal, right? Which, let's hope to God it's not legal to have that. And she's going to have a programmable personality. And when you want to watch a football game, you just, flip her off, right? Turn her off. So this is the future. No, this is a real future. But what concerns me about this is, what is that going to do to legitimate, real relationships between men and women, which is the only way you can make new humans? Right. What are your thoughts on this? And do you feel like it's a threat to the positive advancement of humanity? Because it seems to me we need more good people, not bad, not less of them.
Well, there was a movie that came out about 50 years ago called The Stepford Wives.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Where you just flip them off, turn them off. Well, they'll do everything you want. It's a man's world in that movie.
Yeah.
And all they want is like a servant, sex slave.
Yeah, but I mean, if a man has that, then it's kind of like, now I see kids, teenagers, and I think people talk about universal basic income. Well, then what? Then all the 20-year-olds are going to sit around and play video games all day and smoke weed?
Now have time to rule the world.
I mean, if men have that, then there's no reason for them to go out and meet a woman and fall in love. And love, I think, is the driving force of this entire universe, ultimately. So you're not creating love, and you're not creating babies.
People always talk about like adrenochrome being the most addictive drug ever in the universe, but the most addictive drug in the universe is being in a human body and falling in love. And but I think it's like, I've thought about the positives of sex bots, of there's a lot of lonely people, especially the elderly, that just want to love, and how sweet. I'm a hopeless romantic, so the man who's just been so upset over his wife passing away, if he could recreate her,
yeah,
and then he's all of a sudden revived, I don't know, just that's kind of sweet, but a sex bot.
All these sex bots, so
have a
isn't
hard
this
time finishing.
part of the depopulation agenda?
Right, that's a question.
Right.
And Paula, you were going to say something. What do you have? Come on, pick it up. Pick up the mic.
Where was I? Oh, well, I'm just saying that I think I don't know, you're kind of the way you're leading into this, it feels like you think that most men would prefer to have a robot. But I feel like most people would actually prefer to be with a person, but I think there's a lot of maybe very introverted individuals or people that have a hard time.
Yeah, you're going to think that.
Maybe you would prefer that? I would think. I don't know. I'm not a man. I don't know. I mean, I could say something really wrong as a woman about... Never mind. I'm not going to get into that.
Well, what I'm saying is, what if? Because here's the reality. What if? Because here's the reality. Not every guy is good socially. They have a hard time approaching women. It's nerve-wracking for them. Well, hang on. Right? It's nerve-wracking. So it's I do believe there is a percentage of the male population that will check out, and then whatever their genetic code isn't getting passed on, because they're just going to be they're just going to have this pretend Stepford wife.
Well, survival of the fittest, I guess. But one thing that this is reminding me of, this conversation is reminding me of also, is just just porn. That's really kind of, in a lot of ways, really kind of messed up the psychology of a lot of men these days. A lot of them aren't capable of really having like a good relationship with a woman because they're so psychologically messed up from years and years of porn. They don't know how to actually give a woman like a real, you know, basically be able to.
Yeah.
Are you saying I'm one of those guys, or do you have a question?
No, I have
Sorry,
no,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying to make a statement.
Sure.
It would be worse with a sex bot. It would be worse because if it's that bad with porn, it would be worse with a sex bot. That guy is done. He's not going to be able to socialize in a normal, right, positive way.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's not going to really contribute to society very much. Yes, sir. Go ahead, quickly.
Sure. Yeah. Listening on
Ryan.
podcast, they talked about the importance of men learning to take risks. Okay, they don't do that anymore. They're living in their parents' basement, or they have this life that keeps them away from contact. And the thing is, when a man is sitting there and he gets lonely, and he wants a dopamine hit, although he doesn't know it's a dopamine hit. This is one of those hidden things that most men don't understand, is causing them to want to reach for the porn or whatever, porn.
Yeah, we're not gonna
And-
advertise anybody here because they're not sponsoring us.
I don't, porn channel. But the thing is, when that young man usually, when he understands that he knows he's going to get what he wants, there's no risk.
Yeah.
So they're not going to risk going up to a woman in a bar because they haven't built that up.
And shouldn't it? I mean, so Ryan, I know you have something to
I'm
say.
dying.
Go.
How much time do I have, Mike? Again.
I told you.
Okay, you have to look at the past, the present, the future, right? So they have these companion bots now, Moya, M-O-Y-A.
Okay, no more of those
And
jokes.
they go to 36 degrees, so they're warm bodies. They have synthetic biology. And now you're getting what's called human on a chip, so we're not far away from literally cybernetic creatures like this. Why have they tried so hard to divide man and woman?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? That's because when man and woman come together in love, they release a certain kind of energy that changes the universe around them.
Yes.
And it is contagious to people around them, and it triggers genes and gene expressions in them. It is epigenetic to love. So they want us all divided and incapable of having that kind of expression because it makes us weak. And the men that have been raised in this system get dopamine hits by video games and TV, but they're inferior males. They are not alphas. They don't achieve. They just sit behind a gadget and they get a dopamine hit. And I hope those men don't procreate because I don't want to see their genes expressed in the future. So if we do release sex bots, I hope all of the losers get sex bots and don't procreate. Because we will have a finer breed of human civilization by the men that say, wow, there's so much less competition.
So you agree with
I think I want to.
You agree with
It
the
is a
policy survival
filter.
of the fittest.
I will like to see all of their genes wiped from the face of this earth because these are defective human beings who cannot have a relationship that is legitimate with a woman because they are emotionally stunted. Now, is it crafted that way? Yes. Social engineering has made these people socially inept. And if they can't heal themselves, then let them die out. Sorry, but that's the future. So let them fuck their robots and leave the real women to the real men, and we'll produce a higher breed after that, right?
I always say the most divine technology is in between a woman's hips. It's a soul portal, literally. You get, to me, that's the closest you can get to God because of, like, the uterus and what women are capable of doing. And what happens to a child, how she's able to get this superhuman strength, become a literal superhero and lift up a car because her child was in danger. And what super forces you're able to tap into as a woman. It's amazing. So Queen Akhenaten and his wife, they changed everything because they were so in love. And they were so deeply in love that it emanated out. And all of a sudden, they became a monotheistic community, and that it became creative. It literally changed the design of everything. And how many people, it saddens me, how many people do we know that are super in love? I did a show on sex bots and like AI love and the woman that married her holographic boyfriend, because I was really diving. It made me go down the rabbit hole of like, wait, can this help people? And like, what are the pros? What are the cons? Obviously, it's horrible, but I was trying to look for the positive within it, because we are so blessed to be in a human body and have the ability to fall in love, and it changes things, and it's like the biggest blessing in the world.
Okay, so you're one of those portal girls.
Soul portal.
Okay, so would the world be a better place, Kate, Paula, everybody, would the world be a better place if we banned this technology?
No, I don't think we need to ban it. I think he's right. I agree with his opinion on that this is a way to kind of weed out those who aren't capable of doing this. I mean, the men that I know that would be able to participate in that aren't really men that we want to have procreating. And I think we're going through a lot of the survival of the fittest right now. So,
but see, aren't some of those guys some of the best computer programmers we ever had? The guys who created AI in the first. I mean, really, that's true. You are every human incarnates with different skills.
I think that a lot of men would try it and they wouldn't like it and they would go back to finding another.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, Paula.
Yeah, survival of the fittest, but that's a good point there, Mike. But this conversation is also really making me think of just the breakdown of the family dynamic and how we've seen that played out really through, I believe, personally, and the program Operation Mockingbird, Project Mockingbird, that, through the media, they've kind of basically propagandized this movement of breaking down the family unit, so that, you see that in all the Disney movies, there's only one parent. There's just so many different ways in the media that it's been basically, expanded on for the whole population to no longer have a family dynamic, and it's very obvious. And I think there's something to that. I mean, now we see that most women under the age of 30, or by the age of 30 in the next 10 years, over half of them will not have a child yet.
Right.
So we're seeing that play out now. We're seeing the repercussions of this propaganda that has taken place.
Yeah,
and also there's a lot of...
That's different by culture, though.
Yeah,
our culture, yes.
True.
But not all.
But, obviously there's a lot of other reasons why this is happening, which would be, just what's taking place on the planet right now, and financial reasons and things like that. But, it's a little scary. Like, maybe people say that, I've heard a lot of theories before, that the Greys, they evolved to a point where they're no longer able to reproduce, and that's why they come back in time to find us to basically, take men's sperm or whatever. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but, it almost seems like maybe we're heading that route, so...
Okay, yeah, sir, go ahead.
There's a lot of conversation online about what it is to be in love and what's going on in the body when that happens, and how much of it is because of the external other person, how much of it is actually just all in here, and it always was. Okay, so it's an interesting conversation.
Oh yeah, that's very, so I'm thinking, how many times have I been in love?
With yourself.
What was it all, and what was it all about?
I've actually been in love many times. I can say in my life I've felt that feeling of falling in love many times. And I will say that the amount of psychological warfare that happens to two people that are falling in love, there are those energies out there that their job is to take out the love, because the love is so powerful. So I can say in my life I've felt love many times, and I've also felt the destruction of it. So.
But okay, I don't make this about sex constantly, but isn't that physical attraction between a man and a woman, isn't that important to love? Like, I've never fallen in love the 4 or 5 times I have. I've never fallen in love with a woman that I wasn't really attracted to, right? So if you replace that attraction with this fake technology, then doesn't it create a wedge or make it far more difficult for people to fall in love?
Or does it just step women's game up, I guess, right? If they know that all women... I don't know, most of the men I have in my life, like my brother, he would never participate in that. My brother is an amazing man. and I know that he loves real women. So I don't think he would do it. I know that a lot of us that have been burned in our lives and they've had these bad situations, they think, oh, it'd be so great, this hot chick can just come in and screw my brains out, and and then I can turn it off and go watch TV. But what are we really going to get from that?
So if I can also add that this has been part of the problem with the brainwashing that has happened, where a lot of men who are in a certain league have looked at pornography and magazines and movies, and they fancy themselves in a different league, so they automatically are not attracted to a certain woman that's actually at their pool level, and that creates problems. So you get a lot of people that have this artificial perception of who they should be dating and expectations of what they should be getting out of it. And this brainwashing where you think you're going to have this
So do you think
supermodel, but also
that's
a nun.
cultural? I mean, there's a lot of men. There's a lot of men who blame everything on social media and women getting attention from a million guys. I'm sure Paula and Julie, I'm sure you guys have plenty of guys, simpy guys, always talking to you, trying to talk to you, get your attention all the time. So does that create an artificially like an incorrect perception on the part of the women too? Because you can get super high value, super good looking guys going to hit on you, but many of them are going to love you and leave you. I mean, it's the way
they call that hitting the wall at a certain age group. So women have a particular period where they're very attractive and they get an artificial sense of value because tons of men hit on them, but not every man wants to stay with them. So this is why that disposability culture.
Was that done in order to prevent women and men from getting together during their most fertile periods? Right?
100%.
So you think that's an agenda? So how do you? So this is supposed to be about love and
It's
and
all
life.
population control.
Okay, guys, but I want to get to after this. How do we? We've identified the problem. How do we break through the problem?
I'm right there. So I was married once for a long time, had a 7-year relationship. Then when that ended about 7-8 months ago, I was on the dating apps, and not a young, great-looking guy. I mean, who probably get the good-looking women as well, get a bunch of requests and all that. I got a few and went on dates. It wasn't happening. And I thought, God helps those who help themselves, and it's like. Yeah. Then I thought a woman commented on a post, and I realized, wait, this woman, she's followed me for like 6-7 years. She likes like all my posts. I'm like, I'm single now.
Yeah, you should pay attention to that.
Well, and she's single,
yeah.
And I'm like, what if we had chemistry? I asked her to lunch. We had major chemistry, and so we're in this. It's weird though because, and she was told by a very good psychic, you guys aren't karmic. You don't have anything karmic to work out. So, and we feel that it's weird because there's so little friction.
Okay.
There's nothing, and it almost has fewer fireworks. That almost scares me in a sense that it's not as. But that was the young,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Immature.
All right. So yes, sir. Real quick. Yeah.
Here's something that is really